Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm back with the little crochet squares. Remember we made those a couple of weeks ago. If you have all your squares done, let me see how many I made. 1, 2, 3. I think I made 12. I'm going to show you why I'm not entirely sure right now. And I'm finished them up. I sewed all the ends, and I remember I left those super long tails. I didn't end up using them. There is a way to use them, and I'll show you that in a minute. You can see this is one side of the finished blanket. You can see how it has this stitching. Now, some people would like to would have done a border around each of these in the color that they're going to stitch in, and then this won't show up. I kind of like the way it looks, and it makes this side of the blanket a flat side. But see what it does to the other side. Are you ready? See how it outlines all the squares? So it almost, if you do it like with a black color, it gives it like a stained glass kind of look. But that does make a ridge. Look, it's just a single crochet. And I'm going to show you quickly how I do that. I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to show you some other things. So this is a 3x4 blanket. That's how I did the squares. The squares were about 9 inches each, I think, when they were done. And it is, I think, a perfect size for in a crib. Now, some people say not to use blankets right now for babies. Number one, this is not super fluffy, but it also has the holes in it. Babies should be fine. But hey, don't take any baby's safety lightly. If you are not a person who uses blankets, these are great to put down on the ground or as an extra layer. This is good for a toddler. It doesn't have to be for an infant. Or you could lay it down. Some people, like if they take even their toddler out, they may want a blanket to put down on a chair or something before they put it on, especially if the homeowner has pets or something. So this can be a great little blanket for that. But because it's 3x4 and I have this edging on it, folds up really nice. So I can fold it now. It's not all sewn together because I wanted to show you how to do that. You can wear it kind of as, you can fold it up, or you just do one row of 4 or 5, and it can make a nice little shawl. You can see this is a spot that's not sewn up yet. You can have it longer and make it as a shawl, and you can always wrap it around you. This is a perfect size as well. I said for a toddler or a baby. You can't see it, but it is like a perfect lap blanket size. You can even fold down the top should you want, if it's a little bit too long, if you're a little bit shorter, and give you that extra layer right around your waist. So that's why this size can be just so good, because you can fold it a couple different ways. And like I said, it can be a prayer shawl. It can be a baby blanket. It can be a lap robe. It's just a really great size. And I'm going to show you how I did that join. What I did first was I put my, see, I have it wrong. It's laying wrong on my lap. I put right sides together. How do I know it's right sides versus wrong sides? What I call the right side, can you see these little V's on the top? If they're facing towards me, see right now, you can't see the V. But if I have it like this, you can see the V's. If you can see the V's going across the top, this row here, then that's the facing towards you. So I want them to face towards each other, because that's how I did the whole blanket. I did like that. So I want that to be the same way. Now I've already done my long ones, so I'm going to talk to you about that when we get there, what we're going to do with them. And I just love the versatility of this size of this project, because you can make it and you can donate it to such a variety of places. It makes for a nice one for the foot of a bed. Sometimes at hospice, they don't like a super heavy blanket. They like it to be lighter and just bright and cheerful, or calming and soothed, depending on the person's condition. And they like to fold it and just lay it at the foot of the bed. And then when the person passes, they will give it to the family. And so you want something that is light and can be folded. Now this is made with a worsted weight yarn, but there is no reason that you couldn't use a sport weight or a fingering weight yarn to do it. And you're going to get that same beautiful look, but it's going to be lighter, because in hospice that really does make a difference. Some people cannot tolerate at the end of life really having any weight on them. Or if you're got the opposite problem, you have somebody who has sensory needs and needs a heavier blanket, go for a heavier yarn and you can do this. Like I think I said in the last video about how to make these into doubles. I'll see if I can get my hot little paws on that blanket someday, but it's really big and it is really heavy and calming for that person. Okay, so you can use this as a hospice blanket pattern, this exact size. You can use it as a prayer shawl. You can use it as a baby blanket. You can use it as a lap robe for somebody just around the house or somebody that's in a wheelchair. It's just so versatile. You can also use it even to make ones for puppies, but I would check with an animal shelter first because sometimes they don't like blankets with the holes and sometimes they do. Okay, so all I did was made a slip knot. Oh, did I show you that last time how to make slip knots? Not everybody knows how to make them. I make them by doing a pretzel. So I have one loop, and I'm going to make another loop over it. Can you see how that looks like a little pretzel? And then I go in and get the pretzel bar that's under the others. Pull it tight, and it slips on. And then I'm going to take this loop, this hook here, and I'm going to go under the first V in the corner. Remember we chained 2 in the corners. So I'm going to go into the second one. Because when I'm going one direction, I'm only going into one of those corners. Just making a single chain crochet. So you go in below this V here. And then I'm going to go into the V of the next square. So I'm under both V's. Yarn over, grabbing that loop and pulling it through everything. And now I've got 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2. So again, I'm going to try and do it so you can see it. The problem is, where do I hold this yarn? I'm going to leave that yarn hanging down for a minute. So I'm going to go in. So I'm going to hold it from the side for a second so you can see what it looks like on the side. Can you see where I went in? See this? Ah, now you see this little hole. That's what I'm going for in both of them. So you can see I've got both of those pink V's on there. Yarn over, I'm pulling the yarn through it. Ta-da! I have 2, pull through. So I'm going to do this across those 3 double chains. Now I get to the chain 1 loop that's between my groups, and I'm doing the same exact thing. Stay tuned for a second because we need to get over to the end of this square, this join, so I can show you how to get over this. So I will try and do this super quick. I hope you're going to put in the comments below your favorite charities to do these for. I know sometimes Warm Up America will tell you a size of a square that they're collecting that year. Sometimes they have particular colors. Sometimes there are another charity that does it is for women's heart health, and so they like red blankets. So you might just make up a red square and they'll tell you a size, and you can do anything you want to make a square in that size, and then you just donate the square. You don't have to do this putting together bit. They will do that for you. Isn't that nice? Sometimes it's the worst part is the putting it together at the end. So it can be nice to have somebody do it. And then there's people who really love to put them together, and so they can volunteer to do that. And sometimes they'll do it for an area. Like you may have one person in your area who is collecting all your squares and putting them all together, or they may have an afternoon where everyone gets together and helps out in putting them together. It can be super fun. Now, what do you do if the squares are all roughly the same size, but not exactly? Well, acrylic yarn like this, it's not a super easy fix, but if you've got one that you can block, I'll have to show you on another day our little pegboard. But we went to our local chain hardware store. We got in the garage organization area, there was a piece, a square of plastic that had pegboard holes in it. And then we got some dowel rods cut to be pins for in it. And you can actually put the pins into the holes in the pegboard where these holes are. And you can just do however many you want. You don't have to do it in every single one. You can do it like the ends and the middle, whatever. This is such a big square. I did on all the corners and 2 on each side. And that stretched them all. I left them there for a couple weeks, I'll be honest. And so they had a nice time all becoming roughly the same size. Because they were pretty close. But, things just aren't exact when you do them. And so they've been super easy to put together. That just makes them easier to line up when you're putting them together if they've already been sitting lined up for weeks. And you don't really take them off there until you're ready to sew it up. Now, my friend Pam was doing this for a king-sized blanket. So she did them kind of in groups, what she had on the pegboard. Okay, I'm almost there. I have my 3. My last group, 1. Let's see here. 2. Of course, now I'm going to start getting tripped up, right? It gets a little more difficult as you get to the spot where they're already joined, just because you can't move it around as much. Okay, now I need to do that chain 1 space 1. They can be tricky to get into. So I'm in one of the corners. Ooh. Some people like to just go under the entire thing. I like to go through it. I think it's just steadier. Now, I'm right here. I'm right at that join. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find the stitch that's right there. It's right in my way, right? I'm just going to make a slip stitch through. Except you have to make sure your yarn's on the far side, the side away from you. Just slip it into that V. Just slip it into there. Yarn over, pull through the V, and then pull through the stitch you made, and then just start again on the other side in a new square in its corner. And we're just making 1 in the corner, not doing the 2, because we do that when we go the other direction. And then you just keep going. And that really helps. Before I learned this trick, these joins were just awful. It was like a single crochet on top of a single crochet. And it was awful and bulky. So learning to make that little slip stitch when you come to that really helps. That's it. And then I'm just going to go to the end. What else might I do? I may put a border, because you can see the middle squares are going to be completely surrounded by cream, right? But the top and the edge ones are not. So I'm probably going to come around. What I like to do on the edges of any project, especially ones that are going to get a lot of hardware or washed a lot, I'm going to come through. I will probably do 1 at least round of single crochet around it, and then I'm going to do a reverse single crochet. For realsies, that's what I said, a reverse single crochet. I'm just going to pull a little bit of yarn over here so I can show you that. I'm going to fake this out. I'm going to put a slip knot in the middle of my yarn. I'm not breaking my yarn off because I didn't finish my row. So bear with me here. I will try and show you a reverse single crochet. I don't have the overhead camera hooked up, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Let's see if I can do this. So you make 1, and then I'm going to go backwards. Oh, I'm going to go into the one from before. So I'm going the wrong direction. Still a single crochet, all the exact same moves. But let me show you what it does to the edge. It makes the edge like a rope edge. It makes it nice and twisted in a rope edge. And it's just so much sturdier, because what you're doing is you're basically crocheting over a line of this thread. And so, yeah, you're twisting it kind of like a rope. So it makes a nice, sturdy, chunky edge that's going to hold up a lot longer. Now, if it's going to get a lot of hardware and you're really worried about that edge, do maybe 2 rows of single crochet and then do it. Because if that knotted one, that reverse single crochet, wears out, you can just kind of pull off what's left of it and you've got 2 underneath, right? So you've still got, it's like creating a buffer zone for you. And you could always just take that outer one off if it breaks. If something happens, when little kids drag them around, things like that do happen. So you can just take out that very outside one and just add another row. It can be even another color, but do another reverse single crochet on there. It really helps to keep that edge safe and nice and keep your blanket together. Okay, friends, that's it. Again, my journal's not in this room, so I don't have my prayer in Latin, so we're going to say it in English. May God bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and to be gracious unto you. And may the good Lord bless you. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.